Good Saturday, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mark Collins. I wanted to give you an update on Tropical Storm Ian. The last advisory that came out, still no big changes with the 45-mile-per-hour winds in the storm. It's below hurricane threshold. But you know what? They were shedding some light on the future of this thing, and it looks like it is beginning to organize a little bit better. There's still some shear on it from the northeast, and that's the reason why it hasn't yet become a hurricane. But once it moves out into the Western Caribbean, the indications are the shear is going to relax, and this will power up to a Category 2 hurricane once it pushes through western Cuba. And that island is going to prove very little in the way of weakening the storm. Notice how the European model continues to stay a little bit right of the Hurricane Center's forecast track. They seem to be leaning closer to the GFS model, which keeps it out over the Gulf of Mexico. And it may be that they continue to shift the track further away from Tampa. The new cone that came out had this more towards the Sarasota area, whereas now it's shifted further towards the west. For us, the implications of that means that the storm could stay stronger longer in the Gulf of Mexico, and that could bring in higher winds to North Florida. So for us, the implications have not really changed other than the fact that those winds could be a little bit stronger, but the timing still looks like Wednesday evening into Thursday, the worst impacts into Thursday. Now, what the Weather Service is going to do, they're going to launch these balloon launches throughout the continental United States. That will help provide more data for the upper air conditions, and that's going to be important in timing out this trough that should dig down. If the trough deepens more, that would likely steer the storm back towards west central Florida. If it is a little bit weaker, there's probably a better chance of this storm moving more towards the panhandle. So that's something that we will likely see change the track over the next few runs. But right now, here you can see the consensus of all these forecast models is in anywhere from the panhandle back to central Florida and then recurving northward towards our area. So this is why we need to take the threat very seriously. And when you look at the forecasted timing of those winds arriving Wednesday, tropical storm force winds in our area, now is a perfect time to go outdoors and kind of look around for loose things that could be blown around. This red area represents hurricane force winds in the Tampa Bay area, and there are very high odds of us seeing winds over 40 miles per hour. In fact, the odds from the National Hurricane Center go beyond 16% up to around 25%. And the amount of rain could be very substantial as well. Remember, when Fiona was over Bermuda, Puerto Rico was still getting heavy rains in the island, even though that storm was far away. So even though this storm could track in towards the Panhandle or the Big Bend area, we could see copious amounts of rain even once this passes towards the north as these feeder bands come through. Right now, these estimates are just a ballpark figure, but you could certainly see how this could cause some flood concerns with over a ½ foot of rain. So we're going to be watching this storm very closely. You can go to news4jax.com for more timely weather information, and always watch us here on Channel 4, the local station.